Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call hello, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, the bishops, and elders, great millstone, who deserve double honors. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim out there around the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth, trying to wake up the remaining hopeful elect. This is Naaman with the DC camp. And as you can see here, Sioux Leader, it says from the conversation, America's always had black inventors, even when the patent system excluded them. All right, so here you are. You're dealing with an individual, so-called white man. He is of the nation of Edom. That's his biblical nationality, descendant from Jacob's brother Esau. All right, the so-called white man. The base man that he is, the crook that he is. All right, our people being in the low condition that we were and still are, despite some of our own people not seeing that. All right, when you understand what emancipation and all that stuff really meant, we were never freed. All right, we're still in this position where we depend on our enemy. All right, and that's part of the curses. All right, Deuteronomy 28 and 48. All right, to be exact. All right, but these things that only happen to us, all right, described in those curses, all right. Anyway, it says a law professor examines the history and progress of so-called black inventors in America, all right. Israelites, nobody's black. Our people learn to get over that term and understand that it's a disrespect. It's, what's another word? You're so focused on black. Who are you? You keep thinking, and this is our people, keep thinking that they're African. Well, technically the Africans aren't Africans, and we don't understand what that word means. There are three. All right, you got which son of Noah did you originate from? Was it Japheth or Japheth? All right, who are your Pacific Islanders of the day, a dark-skinned people? Are you Hamites, the ones that are mistakenly confused with Africans? All right, or are you sons of Ham or Chum? All right, or are you Shem? All right, and we come from Shem. It's two different people. But because we're all dark-skinned, that was easier for the people who stole our identity to just mix us and mingle us amongst them. All right, and I hope you understand that. Two different spirits, two different bloodlines. All right, they are our enemies. They are enemies of the Most High, along with the main character in that, all right, who is known as the wicked, and that's the nation of Edom. All right, that same spirit that was in the garden, that's what represents him. All right, always about that game, that trickster spirit. Just think used car salesman. That's who you're dealing with when you think of a story of Eve in the garden, the serpent. Who was the serpent? All right, he pushed forth that doctrine, that philosophy on Eve, and she took it to her husband and his dumb ass because he was following a woman. See, these things continue to repeat themselves. All right, it just, a lot of our people, especially in these churches, your eyes are not open to see it because you go there to be preached at, all right, and to be given a show, all right, and you're not learning anything. So that's your fault for not really asking questions. Second, the Most High is not revealing these things to you because you're purposefully blinded. All right. Anyway, let's get back to the video here. It says about the inventors and the patent office and all that. It says America has long been the land of innovation. More than 13,000. Now, take this with a grain of salt. This is another thing with these Edomites and his so-called science, whatever discipline you choose. In this case, he's talking about, Slovakia, anthropology, and all these other fields. All right. More than 13,000 years ago, the Clovis people created what many call the first American invention. Bullshit. We know that. the so-called North American Indians and those peoples that were here on the in the Western Hemisphere. I have my prepositions there. In the Western Hemisphere, as we know it today, they are not so-called, okay, whatever, These were the northern kingdoms of Israel. There was nobody living here, all right? Of course, you're going back to the time of Noah, which wasn't that long ago, all right? So we're talking not quite, all right? But when this whole thing was one solid landmass, you got to understand the story of the flood is not just a flood as people think of it, all right? It's all of that landmass that was so-called Pangea, the breaking up of that, all that was one catastrophic event, cataclysmic, all right? It's all one event, all right? So these people that were over here didn't come over here on this side until circa 700 BC, that recent, all right, by comparison to what he's talking about here. So, and Columbus knew this, even though there were peoples that were coming over here long before him. See, this is the kind of person going to their character with these Edomites, these so-called white people. All right, they like to claim and claim falsely and take credit for things that are not theirs. And that's, again, the spirit of this video I'm making here with this article. It says, a stone tool used primarily to hunt large game, talking about the so-called Clovis people. He said, this spirit of American creativity has persisted through the millennia, through the first American patent granted in 1641. Now, what was going on at that time? So you got to be familiar with the history. Now, they're saying that our people were first brought over here en masse, all right, although there's evidence that in the 1500s, my people were brought over here, but let's just go with this. So let's just use that 1619 number. So you're looking at 24 years, right? So what was going on at this time? Well, by and large, you had a period where so-called indentured servitude. You had the mixing of the races. You had so-called white women that preferred, listen to me now, so-called black men, all right? So what do they have to do about it? Wait a minute now. We got to come up with something. We can't have this. So there was a famous trial in, I believe, around 1665. All right, I can't remember the name of it, but you also had Jake, that was a slave owner back then, and this is that time where they were in court. There was a famous case. Again, I don't have this in front of me, but it was like this is when they started to turn on Jake. That's my point I'm trying to make. So he was the last of that. Said, well, we can't have this Negro, all right, owning slaves. Said, we want to own him, that kind of thing was going on. And then, of course, after that case, and then the 1680s, they started referring to themselves as white. Now, there was some piece of literature that was, I believe it was in the it was around about this time, I think it was 1643, where the term was used as far as white people. But as far as being put in practice with them calling themselves en masse so-called white people, yeah, that was the 1680s. All right, have to differentiate between us and them. All right, and then the early 17, I think it was 1705, where you had the black codes established. You had what is it called? Meritorious manumissions. All right, where they just said, decided to bestow upon certain Jake, But anyway, so it goes on to say, one group of prolific innovators, however, has been largely ignored by history. Black inventors, born or forced into American slavery. Though U.S. patent law was created with colorblind language to foster innovation, the patent system consistently excluded these inventors from recognition. Of course. As a law professor and a licensed patent attorney, I understand both the importance of protecting inventions and the negative impact of being unable to use the law to do so. But despite patents being largely out of reach to them throughout early U.S. history, both slaves and free African Americans, so-called, did invent and innovate. Why patents matter. In many countries around the world, innovation is fostered through a patent system. Patents give inventors a monopoly over their invention for a limited time period, allowing them, if they wish, to make money through things like sales and licensing. The patent system has long been the heart of America's innovation policy. As a way to recoup costs, patents provide strong incentives for inventors who can spend millions of dollars and a significant amount of time developing an invention. The history of patents in America is older than the U.S. Constitution, with several colonies granting patents years before the Constitution was created. In 1787, however, members of the Constitutional Convention opened the patent process up to people nationwide by drafting what has become to be known as the Patent and Copyright Clause of the Constitution. It allows Congress to promote progress of science and useful arts by securing for limited times to authors and inventors the exclusive right to their respective writings and discoveries. You see where this is going? There's a big but. All right? There's a big old but. This language gives inventors exclusive rights to their inventions. It forms the foundation for today's nationwide federal patent system, which no longer allows states to grant patents. Though the language itself was race neutral, like many of the rights set forth in the Constitution, the patent system didn't apply for Black Americans born into slavery. This is one of these reasons. They're just telling you something else too. At the same time, why you stupid motherfuckers celebrate the 4th of July? Let me read this again. Though the language itself was race neutral, like many of the rights set forth in the Constitution, the patent system didn't apply for Black Americans born into slavery. Neither did the Constitution itself. Slaves were not considered American citizens, and laws at the time prevented them from applying for or holding property because they were considered property, including patents. In 1857, the U.S. Commissioner of Patents officially ruled that slave inventions couldn't be patented. Slaves' inventions exploited by owners. So they couldn't be patented by the people who invented. But listen here. During the 17th and 18th centuries, America was experiencing rapid economic growth. At whose expense? Black inventors were major contributors during this era, even though most did not obtain any of the benefits associated with their inventions since they could not receive patent protection. This is indeed an unjust and wicked individual, as the scriptures will tell you. All right, keep this scripture I'm about to read in mind as I'm reading this, because a lot of our people, they want to stay here in this bitch. They keep thinking, and it's usually these Christians, are of the mindset, oh, he's going to change. This is Psalms 43:1. It says, "Judge me, O Most High, and plead my cause against an ungodly nation," the nation of Edom. "O deliver me from the deceitful and unjust man." Aside from the sword, his weapons of war, his tactics of war, he just outright uses deceit and lies. That's another of his gifts. All right, those smooth words. All right, buttering you up. He has a unique talent for that. That's why the Gadites used to refer to him as forked-tongued individual. All right, that's again going back to the same spirit that was in the garden with Eve. It's the same spirit, all right, that came back through Isaac and Rebekah as Esau and then his descendants. All right, so let's go back to the article. All right, slave owners often took credit for their slaves' inventions. See, all the time we at Great Millstone have been saying this, you thought that, oh, they just, you know, you got the naysayers and the scoffers and whatever have you. But this is history, all right? Slave owners often took credit for their slaves' invention. In one well-documented case, a black inventor named Ned invented an effective, innovative cotton scraper. His slave master, Oscar Stewart, attempted to patent the invention. Because Stewart was not the actual inventor and because the actual inventor was born into slavery, the application was rejected. Stewart ultimately began selling the cotton scraper without the benefit of patent protection and made a significant amount of money doing so. So I'm going to sell this Negro's invention anyway, but under my name, and he made his money. In his advertisements, he openly touted that the product was the invention of a Negro slave, thus giving the lie to the abolition cry that slavery dwarfs the mind of the Negro. When did a free Negro ever invent anything? So it's best they're more inventive. All right, they're they're better at this if they remain slaves. Because a free Negro, how's he gonna, you know? These motherfuckers, man. God damn, they got a lot to pay for. Reaping benefits of own inventions. It says the answer to this question is that black people, both free and enslaved, invented many things during that time period. One such innovator was Henry Boyd, who was born into slavery in Kentucky in 1802. After purchasing his own freedom in 1826, Boyd invented a corded bed created with wooden rails connected to the headboard and footboard. The Boyd bedstead was so popular that historian Carter G. Woodson profiled his success in the iconic book, The Miseducation of the Negro, noticing that Boyd's business ultimately employed 25 white and black employees. Though Boyd had recently purchased his freedom and should have been allowed a patent for his invention, the racist realities of the time apparently led him to believe that he wouldn't be able to patent his invention. He ultimately decided to partner with a white craftsman, allowing his partner to apply for and receive a patent for the bed. Some black inventors achieved financial success, but no patent protection, direct or indirect. Benjamin Montgomery, who was born into slavery in 1819, invented a steamboat propeller designed for shallow waters in the 1850s. This invention was of particular value because during that time, steamboats delivered food and other necessities through often shallow waterways connecting settlements. If the boats got stuck, life-sustaining supplies would be delayed for days or weeks. Montgomery tried to apply for a patent. The application was rejected due to his status as a slave. Montgomery's owners tried to take credit for the propeller invention and patented themselves, but the patent office also rejected their application because they were not the true inventors. So luckily for him, he had tried beforehand, and that was on record. All right. Even without patent protection, Montgomery amassed significant wealth and became one of the wealthiest planters in Mississippi after the Civil War ended. Eventually, his son Isaiah was able to purchase more than 800 acres of land and found the town of Mound Bayou, Mississippi, after his father's death, a legacy of black innovators. The patent system was ostensibly open to free black people, from Thomas Jennings, the first black patent holder who invented dry cleaning in 1821, to Norbert Riault, a free man who invented a revolutionary sugar refining process in the 1840s, to Elijah McCoy, which where the expression the real McCoy comes from, who obtained 57 patents over his lifetime. Those with access to the patent system invented items that still touch the lives of people today. This legacy extends through the 21st century. Lonnie Johnson generated more than US $1 billion in sales with his Super Soaker water gun invention, which has consistently been among the world's top 20 best-selling toys each year since 1991. Johnson now owns more than 80 patents and has since developed different green technologies. Bishop Curry, the fifth, a 10-year-old black inventor from Texas, has already applied for a patent for his invention, which he says will stop accidental deaths of children in hot cars. See, this is Jake, all right, and this is what these devils know, that left alone, and if all things were equal, they could never measure up. So that's why you have these motherfuckers doing these dirty ass bullshit, wicked ass tactics, all right. They can't. It's just their nature, all right. Black women are also furthering the legacy of black inventors. Lisa Ascalise, known as the inventress, has received multiple patents and founded the Association for Women Inventors and Entrepreneurs. Janet Emerson Bashan became the first black woman to receive a patent for a software invention in 2006. And Dr. Hadia Green recently won a $1 million grant related to an invention that may help treat cancer. True to the legacy of American innovation, today's black inventors are following in the footsteps of those who came before them. Now patent law doesn't actively exclude them from protecting their inventions and fully contributing to American progress. All right. So this article originally came out almost 6 years ago, but this is a book I recently acquired. It's called How White Folks Got So Rich. And just so happens, page 167, all right, it says patents, the black ingenuity snatchers. Guess who those would be, all right? The list of black inventors is a long and impressive one, but the list of those blacks who profited from their own inventions is too short to qualify as a list. The carefully laid traps and barriers to patents and the legal cost of protecting same to capital, to manufacturing, to distribution, to media, and to markets all but ensure that inventions are wrested away from the black inventors before they can use them to become entrepreneurs. All right, industrialists and employers of black people. It is because all of this, you have to understand, we were never supposed to be self-sufficient here in America. We're just, the mindset should be as pilgrims. All right, that's something else we always say, all right, at camp, on the line, all right. This is not our rest, Micah 2:10, all right. There's Hebrews 11th chapter, Hebrews 13th chapter. This is not our rest. This was never meant to be. This is a place of punishment for us. This is a place where that grace period should be in order to get ourselves right with the Most High, all right. This is that time of grace. That's what it should be used for, all right. Not to do just anything, all right. And that's what we are here on the highways and byways, trying to let our people know, hey, we are the Israelites of the Bible, all right. And we have that sign out there, the 12 tribes sign, and you have to understand, so just so you don't fit that bill criteria as you would often associate with a so-called Negro or Latino or Native American so-called as being, because we were what? Scattered all about. So don't let that, if your spirit identifies, Romans 8:16, hey, and you understand what's going on here through the spirit, that's what's important, all right? But the thing is, still, as a man in Chronicles of Riddick said, you know, hey, I'm just passing through. That's the mindset you should have, all right? Because as proven with Kanye West and Kyrie Irving and all these people that our people look up to, that should prove what they did to Kanye. You ain't safe, all right? It doesn't matter how much money you got, all right? They can take it away just like that, all right? Because the wicked run this world. Anyway, back to this. It is said that this patent system rewards American ingenuity. Didn't I just read that? But the patent system more often rewards the thief who uses his status as a member of the white race to exploit the market for his own profit. Didn't I give you examples of this? Sometimes they tried and failed. All right. It says late night television is filled with ads of capitalists seeking to help inventors bring their ideas to fruition for a fee. And I even tried that. All right. They have even created a popular television show so we can all watch the truly ingenious beg the merely rich for an investment. Shark Tank. All right. Donald Trump was once a part of that. During their enslavement, Africans, so-called, were engaged in every form of highly skilled labor, including engineering and mechanics. They accessed their ancient intelligence as builders. You know, that was just a spirit on Jake. And let's get that real quick. All right, because the person that wrote this is not going, let's see, Jeremiah. Is that 51 or let's see, 50? Let's go 33. Let's see. Around 14, I think it is. Hold on. Let's see. It must be the next chapter. Hold on. Here it is. This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 19. It says, the portion of Jacob is not like them. Who's them? The heathen. For he is the former of all things, and Israel is the right of his inheritance. The Most High Yahweh, the Lord of hosts, is his name. All right. So that spirit that was in Jake is not like that. That's within the heathen, of course. All right. Anyway, it says, they have even created a proper television. Okay, we already read that. It says, let's see, among those products credited to African, let's say, Israelite genius, are the rotary engine, the lawnmower, horseshoe, elevator, refrigerator, cash register, gas burner, printing press, pencil sharpener, fire extinguisher, scaffolding, fountain pen, gas mask, traffic light. I believe that was Garrett Morgan, and even the electric light. All right. The cotton gin, which generated uncountable riches for the Europeans, especially the Rothschilds, was credited to the Massachusetts-born Eli Whitney. But earlier cotton gins were found in use in Africa and Asia, but not the so-called white man. Elijah McCorn has given you, all right, and then on the next page you have Mr. Latimer, who worked with Edison, all right, Lewis H. Latimer, all right. Again, I'm not going to go because, this will be, then it goes to university, patents and businesses. And then you get into the Federal Reserve crookery, but that's another video. But yeah, I can't go, but interesting about the Rothschilds. I did not know that. All right. So these motherfuckers just, again, assuming or trying to be us, assuming our identity. And it says, again, I have the book, but I don't have it with me at present right here. But, their almanacs tell you that they're not who they pretend to be. But because of so-called white supremacy, it's Edomite supremacy for real, and cognitive dissonance, yeah, they they love to say, well, those are God's chosen people. Why? Because it fits the narrative. All right, so yeah, I'll post this. I don't need to go into the rest of it. It's over with here. But yeah, I would encourage you, if you're going to get this book, because within the last month or two, we started bringing this out. So that it's going to go up exponentially in price. So when I got it, the end of December, it was $10. So I encourage you, hey, I've had it for a month now. So please go ahead and get it. Once again, how white folks got so rich. All right. Just keep that with you, because you have anybody that with that cognitive dissonance, you can just whip this out. Look at there. All the receipts. That page, You know, you didn't do what? What? This was a godly? No. Got him. Hey, so with that, again, I do this all the time. I don't think I'm going to be going on this long, but hey, that's the spirit. So once again, this has been opinion. America's always had black inventors, even when the patent system excluded them. All right, this has been nothing but exploitation. This is what this devil does. All right, exploit. And this is, again, his MO. From when you really think about it, when you go to Habakkuk's 2nd chapter, it talks about this is the same spirit, you know. Please read it. Culminating with verse 16 in that chapter about shameful spewing on their glory now, because all this information, all the wickedness that they've done is coming out on them. 2 Thessalonians 2nd chapter. This devil is being exposed for who and what he really is. All right, so now they're trying to hurry up and establish this new world order. All right, for those of you that still think this is conspiracy theory, you know, fuck you. You're getting ready to get a real big dose of reality very soon here. So with that, hey, to the next video, hey, shalom.